And then manifestation happened. I spoke the words, I want to have my own store, out loud to the right person at the right time. And then the next day they were like, do you want to share our store with us? And we'll call it Often Wander.
Welcome to the Trades Show. This is a show about modern craft work. Each episode, I step into the workshops of skilled artisans across industries, from metalsmithing and butchery to woodworking and shoe cobbling. I'm your host, Briana Ottoboni. The Trades Show explores what it means to be a craft worker, the revival of the artisan trades, and the return to what makes us human, the ability to make with our hands. Because in every trade, there's a rhythm. The whir of a lathe, the hiss of a solder, the slice of a blade. And through these rhythms, we return to ourselves. Because making isn't just what we do, it's who we are. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, and welcome back to the Trades Show. Thank you for bearing with me through a short little hiatus, and I am back today with the final episode of Season 1. Lots more to come in 2026. Our guest today is Sarah Larson. Sarah is a candle maker and the founder of Often Wander. In our conversation, we talk about the craft of creating sense, what it means to intentionally think small in business, and the transition from saying yes to everything to saying no to anything that isn't aligned. Today's episode comes to you from inside Sarah's studio and the hopefully soon-to-be storefront for Often Wander. And if you haven't picked up your holiday gifts yet, I would highly recommend Often Wander as your shopping destination. Their candles are amazing. I'm burning one right now, and you can find all of the details on where to find Sarah and Often Wander in the show notes. Enjoy. Thank you so much for having me in your space. I'm so excited to talk.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Okay, so I always start with the same two questions.
Sure.
So the first is, how would you describe your craft and what you do?
I would describe my craft, or what I'm mostly known for, is candles, fragrance products like perfume, incense, diffusers, room sprays, those types of things, and jewelry.
I love it. The second question is, bring us back a little bit. So tell us kind of your origin story, how you got to where you are now, and what your kind of current state of affairs looks like.
Yeah. I started Often Wander in 2012. I kind of more so came up with the name before I actually had any business or anything like that.
How did you come up with the name?
I had just come back from a trip abroad where I was there for an extended period of time because I had been laid off from a desk job, and I was just wandering essentially around mostly in Barcelona, and got really, really inspired there, and was really inspired by the word wander because I like how it encompasses the sense of curiosity, kind of going with your gut, and openness without direction. And then I saw something that said, I often wonder, and I was like, ooh, often wander. So that's how I came up with the name, and it felt very like sacred. Like it was like, okay, I got the name. At the time, I was playing around with a bunch of stuff. And I also liked that name because it wasn't like Sarah's Candles. Mm-hmm. It was like an umbrella term so that I could continue to stay curious, stay open, and follow whatever I was inspired by at the time.
Yeah, I think also separating it from yourself makes it feel like it's like this living thing on its own. Totally. And that you are kind of the vessel. I mean, that's how I felt about this show. And the name also came first. I feel like that's how all my ideas come out.
So yeah, that's how Often Wander, the name, came about. And then I bootstrapped everything. It was always a side hustle. I was making candles at home and painting furniture, and then having little parties at my house, inviting friends to come shop. And then it turned into like, oh, you should do farmers markets. And then I started doing weekly farmers markets. And I was also working at the time at a retail store. And I had then since gotten another opportunity to manage retail, and so I got really comfortable knowing retail. And then manifestation happened. I spoke the words, I want to have my own store, out loud to the right person at the right time. And then the next day they were like, do you want to share our store with us? And we'll call it Often Wander at Noon. And Noon was the business that I had already worked for, and they knew me. It's a really magical, there's like points in Often Wander's history that feel very like magical and serendipitous, like they were meant to be, and also things that I profoundly manifested.
Bring us through that story. Like, what are those magical moments?
So I had the Often Wander at Noon store for 5 years, but right before I opened that store, I was already kind of interested in moving to San Francisco, but then I opened a store in San Diego. And I was like, how am I ever going to move up to San Francisco now that I have this retail store? And I had friends that were in the Bay Area. I would visit them often. And I just kind of fell in love with San Francisco. It felt like the city was truly calling me, like, you have to be here, you have to be here, this is where you're meant to be. And so then I started scouting, and on one trip in particular, there was this location in the Mission that it was on Valencia and 17th. It was a furniture store called Harrington Galleries. It was like a 2-level furniture store. And in like 2014, I think, I wandered up there, and there was no one on the second floor, and I recorded a video of myself dancing up there. And I wrote in the caption, like, manifesting something big here. And then 4 years later, I went back to that space again, and I was like, hey, I have a business in San Diego. I would really like to have a piece of this spot, like whatever capacity you have room for, I would love to be a part of your space. And they were like, well, actually, we have this empty retail store next door, and it's available if you want it.
Oh, I love it.
So it was like totally magical. And of course they were like, let's test it out, we'll do like a 6-month trial, like pop up. And so I just went for it. I hired the people I needed to hire to run San Diego. I packed up all my stuff and moved to San Francisco, thinking like, oh, this might just be a 6-month thing, but I'm gonna give it my all. And then 6 months went by, and it was totally magical, and they were like, actually, you can stay forever.
I love that. I also love that you had a retail location and were able to move. I feel like it's so easy for those to feel like you're kind of set in stone, and once you have a store, you can never move for the rest of your life.
Totally.
And so to be able to have the resources to support the store and be able to expand it and grow it.
Totally.
I feel like that's such an inspiring part of your story.
Totally. Thank you. And I've always been very resourceful, and I work with what I have, but I got really lucky with the people I hired down in San Diego. And this was pre-COVID, and I feel like the world was a lot more kind of settled and less crazy. And so I secured an awesome team that made it possible for me to move up here.
So then once you moved up here, what was the evolution of Often Wander from there?
Yeah, the business grew a lot. We had 2 retail stores at that point. I actually closed the first San Diego store and then reopened in another location in 2019. But yeah, things were busy. We were releasing new product all the time. We expanded all of our offerings by a lot. The San Diego store was tiny, and I was sharing it with another business, but in San Francisco I had like 1,500 square feet to fill. So I was like, oh my God, I need to make more everything, like more products, carry more things from other local people. Then people started to hear about us. We were doing events in the shop. We were hosting pop-ups outside of the shop. And then COVID happened, and that was, I mean, obviously a hiccup for everyone, but
just a little hiccup.
just a tiny one. Yeah, you know, and I think I'm still feeling the effects like 5 years later of how different the world feels now and how different people like to shop and interact and things like that. So anyway, yeah, we closed for a couple of months, and then I reopened, and our best years ever were like strangely, 2021 and 2022. And then after that, things really slowed down. And it felt like it wasn't just me. It felt like it was kind of unanimous. Like COVID kind of taught everyone to shop on Amazon.
Convenience for everything. Yeah.
Over quality, over local, over community, over handmade, whatever. That and the economy and all of these things. And so then in 2023, at the end of that year, I closed the San Diego store. And then I gave 2024 my all in San Francisco. I tried to do everything, like events every weekend. Like whatever people wanted, I would give it to them. I was just really trying to make it work. And yeah, by August, I was really looking at my finances and I was like, I'm losing money at this point to pay for my employees, to continue to make all of these products that are just sitting on the shelves and things like that. So I closed my San Francisco store at the end of 2024.
Yeah, I feel like also when you have spent a whole year trying all of the things and trying to do everything, when it doesn't work, like there's nothing else that you can do. This is not what was meant to be right now.
And honestly, everything that the universe throws at me, I also see it as an opportunity, or I try to at least. So I was feeling really burnt out and I was like, I'm gonna make this scary change and close my retail stores, which is all I've ever known of my business, is always having a retail store, and try to do the e-commerce thing and take care of myself and my sanity and take a break. So that's kind of what I've been doing this year.
One thing that we talked about on the phone was the idea of, you grew, you had employees, you were managing multiple locations at once, and then kind of shrinking down and thinking about what does it look like to think small in your business. So
Totally.
What does that look like for you now? Like, what does sustainability in maintaining a viable business while also keeping it small so that it's still within your capacity? What does that look like for you?
Totally. Well, I will say that our numbers drastically decreased after closing the retail store. So business was shrunken down, which honestly kind of worked because I went from a team of 7 down to like 1.5, and now it's just me. So right now I'm able to manage everything, and I'm also trying to set this new expectation for myself and for my accounts and my customers that thank you so much, and I will get to you as soon as I can, and I'm not going to do any more than what I'm capable of doing right now.
And I think people really value that transparency. I feel like people have that in their email signatures sometimes, where it's like an automatic reply of, this is when I respond to emails. I will get to you when it's then. But I think when we continue that cycle of, if I respond faster, then you respond faster, then we just create more and more for ourselves.
Totally.
And we could actually just slow down.
Before I used to be like, oh my God, we got to get online orders out every single day. And now I'm like, I will do them in batches, and then I need to move on to the next thing. And an order comes in and I'll be like, oh, should I just do it right now? I'm like, no, it can wait. It can wait. Everything is fine. It's just candles and jewelry. Not that those aren't amazing things, but it's not a life-saving medical device that needs to get shipped out right away, so.
My first job was at a jewelry company, and I remember working in e-commerce during the holidays and feeling like this does feel like it is a life-saving emergency, and it does not need to feel that way. That is not, we're not saving the world by any means.
Yeah.
And so I think it's sort of nice to return to where does this fall in the grand scheme of things, and your work is important, but it also doesn't need to hurt you to maintain itself.
I will also give credit to those people, like mostly women that I follow that have businesses that I'm following on Instagram or whatever, who have these same set of boundaries that I got inspired, like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it.
What do some of those boundaries look like?
Someone does a live sale, for example, and they're selling all of these things, I'll get your orders out in the next couple of weeks. Like, for me, I would have been like, oh, I need to get this out immediately. But it's like, no, I'm not going to kill myself to get these orders out. Everything is fine. It's like I'm one person, and reminding people of that. And just being really transparent. I love transparency and open communication in general. So I think there's now this new, I don't know if trend is the right word, but like where people are like, I'm one person, I'm making you this really incredible piece, and have some patience.
Yeah, you were talking about how the pandemic brought us into this age where we really valued convenience over everything and learned how to integrate all of Amazon and quick delivery and all of these things into our life and create expectations around it. But I do feel like the pendulum is swinging to the other side where, we prioritize convenience over community. And now I think there is so much more of a desire for like in-person anything.
Yeah.
People just want to be near each other.
Yeah.
And so I feel like even the like timeline on things, it's kind of special to like things become more special when you're like, I have to wait for this.
Yeah.
And it's not just like immediate gratification.
Exactly.
It's like a return to being excited when something just arrives on your doorstep. I love mail.
Yeah, I know.
I like send letters.
No, I totally agree.
So how has that been in the past year? Talk about what 2025 has looked like in the year of, I don't even want to say slowing down to speed up, but more like slowing down to kind of figure out what's next, it sounds like.
This is my year of transition, but I don't even know yet what I'm transitioning into.
Year of wandering.
Yeah, I'm honestly just giving myself a much needed break. So this year has been totally different, unlike any year in business I've ever had. Thankfully, and so grateful that I can bring all of my customers with me on this journey, and they can still access me via my website and my pop-ups and things like that. But for the most part, I am here in this lofted studio space working and creating by myself, and that has been really nice. I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. I'm able to just process my thoughts, think about whatever it is I'm creating, get inspired, play, which is huge, and listen to music and dance, and I don't have to worry about other people being here and being like, what are you doing, weirdo, So
What has it unlocked in terms of your creativity? What else have you been able to explore because of it? How's it changed your process?
I have been really inspired by two things this year: painting and making more jewelry. Painting, I have 1,000 ideas, but I do feel somehow blocked in a way. I'm like, I should probably be labeling these candles, or I should probably blah, blah, blah. So I haven't really fully allowed myself to delve into that yet, but I really appreciate painting, and especially abstract painting. I think it's really cool. But when I'm like, I just want to play with beads, that I'm allowing myself to do, and I've been making jewelry a lot, and that feels really fun. And I just took like a rug tufting workshop the other day, and that was really fun.
So cool. Just so tactile.
I feel like I'm still kind of trying to break that routine of being like, I'm known for my candles and my jewelry. And yes, I can make candles all day, but often Wander is so much more, or is meant to be so much more than just those two things. So
yeah, when we spoke before, you also described how you are really the vessel and craft is kind of the medium.
Yeah.
But allowing that space to change and pivot. How has your relationship to that changed?
Yeah, I am honoring more and more that artistic side in myself, just at least internally right now. I think candles is very easy for me to like. When I have an inspiration that involves fragrance or jewelry, like those two things are very easy and they come through me, and I'm like, boom, and I can make them, and it's easy for the most part.
Yeah, I love that. I've never thought about, we have these things that we're more inclined, and I know that candles for you've been doing since you were really little, but like fragrance for me, if I smell things that are amazing, I don't necessarily have the instinct of, I know exactly like how to put those together or what that looks like.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about that a little bit? Like for both jewelry making and candles, how do you synthesize that inspiration? I think that's such a beautiful part of learning a craft is knowing how to translate those ideas into the actual physical form.
Yeah. I have always loved scent. I'm like obsessed with fragrance. And when I smell fragrance, I smell colors and I smell moods and feelings. And I've used that as inspiration for so many of my candles before. But for example, during COVID, I came out with the Mood collection where I formulated different scents that evoke a different feeling or a different vibe or a different mood. I love parameters. If somebody were like, I want a scent that smells like a Moroccan opium den or something like wild, I got you. I feel like I have all these different oils. I have a collection of oils now that I'm like, I can figure it out. And I have no formal training or background in these things, but I've just been playing with fragrance for so long that I have a little bit of a vocabulary and like a collection of things to play with.
I feel like that's something that I struggle with, there are things that come more naturally to me, but without the formal training, sometimes it's harder to feel like you have the confidence to actually bring that thing into the world, or for you like to create a whole world around it.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you did that, maybe with candles specifically?
I started very, very small, like literally learned how to make candles on my stovetop and was very resourceful. Honestly, I would buy like an anthropology candle, and then when there was just like a little bit left and it wouldn't burn anymore, I would scrape it out and melt it down, and then I'd create new candles. And so essentially what I was doing was like layering different scented things, and I was like, oh, I got this, like I could do this, you know? And then I started like, oh, I like the idea of this scent and this scent, and would just buy a few things to start with at a time, and then trial and error and building upon that.
How did you start selling them?
Also, like I did this with no money. Like I barely spent any money. I was going to thrift stores and buying cool jewel tone vintage glassware, and I was using cheap like Michael's oils and wax in the very beginning, and I was selling these things to my friends, and they were like, oh, these are awesome. And then I started like, okay, I can make this amount of money, and now I can buy better supplies. But honestly, just playing. And at that time, I wasn't like, I'm going to try to open up a store and conquer the world. It was just like, this is really fun. I enjoy this, and I want to keep playing with it. And then it became something.
I love that. And like, talk about candles a little bit. What are some of the techniques that you had to, I mean, I have made candles, and you should see my freezer full of so many little bottom of candles that I haven't done anything with.
Cool. Well, you can bring them to me and I will refill them.
I was thinking about that happily, but it's not as simple as just pouring wax into a vessel or into a form. So how do you think about that process? Maybe just walk us through the process of creating a candle from concept to different parts of the actual pouring and that you're thinking about.
Okay. Since I'm looking at our sand candle, let's use our element collection, for example. So elements like fire, air, earth, water, I took those and created sand, smoke, sky, and sea. Like came up with these awesome names, and then it was like, okay, I need to create a scent that not only smells like or gives nod to, but evokes the feeling of that thing. And it started with the sky candle, which is my favorite. I had a friend who was living in Bolinas, and I would drive over there, and as soon as we get out of the car, that first deep breath, I was like, oh my God, I need to recreate that. So it was literally like, okay, it's eucalyptus, rosemary, sage, and then that became the candle.
Oh, I love that. I feel that whenever I go to Tahoe since I was little. I remember being like, is the air different up here? Like, I don't understand. It is.
It is different. Yeah.
And do you feel like you've like trained your nose over the years?
Yeah.
Or is it part of that process?
A little bit. Like I notice fragrances very quickly. I feel sensitive to fragrances now, which I see that as a positive thing. Could be a negative thing too, but yeah, I'm always, especially in nature, oh my gosh, I'm like, I'm smelling something, where is that? And then I'll be like, I need to find what plant or what patch of dirt is giving me this scent right now.
I love that, the ability to like isolate the different.
Yep.
Okay, so then once you have the concept and vision for it, what does your process look like from there?
Say I found this like wild sage on a hike, then I would procure all the different oils that are sage related and then test them all out, and essentially take a little scent strip and dip it and then smell each one, smell what they smell like together, smell what they smell like with other ingredients mixed together, and it's basically picking my favorite combination. Mm-hmm.
And then the pouring and
yeah.
the actual kind of fabrication.
So I am a small batch advocate.
Back to our think small.
Yeah. I love pouring small batch candles. So a lot of bigger companies will like put all of their fragrance in a big vat with the wax and pour like a ton of candles all in that one scent. I don't do that. I've always done like pitcher by pitcher. So like this used to be one of our wax melters. I think her name is Big Bertha. We also had Patty Melt, which was a great name too.
That is good.
But yeah, I would just pitcher by pitcher melt the wax, pour it in a pitcher, mix in the oils, and then pour the candles. And just
so you're not melting the fragrance with the wax usually. You're
nope. I'm adding it in as I'm pouring the wax out of the pitcher. I'm adding the oils and then stirring it together then and mixing it together.
And what are the parts of candles that are like things that you feel like you notice about them that, like I recently was watching a video about dipping like beeswax candles, and something that I would have never thought about is like the thickness of the wick.
Yeah.
And how it changes like how the candle burns. I think that's the beauty of craft and all of these small batch things is that there's so much that goes into them that's behind the scenes that like we don't get to see.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, based on the diameter of your candle, there are a million different wick sizes, and you want to like find the best wick to match the diameter and the wax and the fragrance load, like how much pool you want to receive, like the amount of burn or melted wax on the top of the candle, you want that to go all the way to the outside of the candle. I think as a candle maker, you definitely want to test your wicks before like launching a product. You want to make sure that it has like a good clean burn. It's pooling all the way to the outside edge of the candle. There's like a science behind all of it, and like pour temperatures and vessels. And I didn't know what I was doing when I started, so I just figured all of it out.
How did you learn?
Trial and error, baby. Trial and error. Yeah. At one point in time, I was like, why do my candles have these big holes? Like I would pour them, and then the next day they'd have a giant hole in it. And I'm like,
what happened to me?
Why is this happening? And then I think that was honestly maybe the first time that I Googled anything about candles. Like I was just not even using the internet. So I was like, oh, heat gun. And then you just get a heat gun and it's like the way that the wax cools. It cools faster on the outside, so it creates this like little hole. So you just simply melt the wax on the top, let it pour in, you fill in the hole, and then you've got like a perfect, beautiful candle. But if you don't fix it, you'll drown your wick. So many little things, you know?
Yes. I love all of those little things. What's the next chapter of Often Wanderer looking like? Or maybe it doesn't look like anything quite yet, but what is the
No, it's all good.
direction?
I think in the next year, I really want to hone in on things. Like I'm still offering the same amount of goods that I was offering when I had a huge retail store.
Yes, that's what I noticed when I walked into this space.
Yeah, so I don't need to be offering 70 plus different candle fragrances. So I want to hone in, pick our best sellers, and possibly do a rebrand. Yeah, I feel like a fresh look would also match like where I'm at. I need a new chapter, new beginnings, new everything. So I think that is something I'm looking forward to doing in the new year. And yeah, honestly, I'm just really grateful that Often Wanderer is still here. There's so many businesses that just were like, our retail store is not doing well, we're done. And they just closed the business. But I'm going to keep it going, even if we offer less, because I think it will have another phase or iteration where it will be big, you know, like the pendulum thing again, you know?
Totally. I feel like you almost started in a reverse way than most business owners, where you start online and then get big enough where you can go into retail So to start from that and then kind of be refunneling
Totally.
back.
I did the opposite of what most people did, and I didn't have a business plan. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So now I've been doing this for 13 years, if I'm doing my math correctly, coming on 14. I have some experience now. I know what's up, and I know what makes me happy and what doesn't, and I want to do the things that feel good, that are going to make me money, that are going to make my customers happy.
Yes, the ultimate Venn diagram.
Totally, exactly.
You happy, customers happy, makes money.
Yes.
That's the art.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple questions I want to end with. So
Okay.
one, you also have all of these other crafts, jewelry making, you said painting and other art forms that you've been exploring this year, especially, I feel like. How do you see those fitting into the vision of Off and Wander?
I kind of just leave room for those things to happen. If they happen, amazing. If they don't, it's okay. But I think by offering a little bit less, that will free up a little bit more time so that I can pursue those other things that I'm dreaming of.
How do you give yourself space to dream in that way?
It's easy and it's hard. Like, I'm inspired all the time, have always been inspired all the time, but I also feel blocked a lot of the time. And there are points in my life where I'm not blocked. And that's when I'm like, this creative flow is just flowing out of me. And so I think honestly, it's being in your space with your things and just being, I'm here, and giving yourself micro goals. Like, I want to explore painting something, anything today. And then it just comes out. It just comes out. It just comes out. I think there's a lot to, like taking a day of the week and being like, okay, this is a Sarah day. I'm going to make stuff today. I'm going to be productive in a way for the business, but I'm going to do whatever I feel inspired to do today.
I feel like I've always struggled to find that balance, but that like interim of creating the time, but then not having any like deliverables or outcomes that you're trying to create with that time, of just like, I want to work on this, or maybe I don't even know what I want to work on. I just need this space, but it's reserved and blocked off, creating those boundaries again.
Yep. I love a good parameter. Like, for example, like painting, it's like, oh my God, you're staring at a blank canvas. That's so intimidating. How are you going to just start? And are you just going to imagine something and do it? Give yourself a challenge. Like, I can't take my paintbrush off the canvas for 2 minutes or something. Like little things like that. And then by the time the 2 minutes are over, you have something. And then you just keep adding and doing. And it's stuff like that. I love that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And okay, so for someone who, you said you have over 13 years experience running your own business now. So for someone who's just starting, what advice would you give to them, whether it's candle making or any other kind of craft?
Yeah. I would say that it could probably feel very intimidating to start a business right now in this climate, in this economy, with social media being the way that it is. I feel like it can be very intimidating, but what I would love to inspire people to do is like, fuck the noise, just like block everything out and just do your thing. Like, just let it come out of you. And also, your business or your passion doesn't need to be your sole income for a while. Like, if you're really into knitting and that's your side hustle while you do your full-time job, good for you. Keep the money coming where it can so that you can keep feeling passionate and excited about the thing that you're doing. Maybe you'll just do that. Maybe you'll just do that forever. Like, I'm enjoying this thing so much, but I'm making a bunch of money in my tech job or whatever it is.
You have the freedom then to do all of those things. Sometimes I think the pressure can act as like a creative block of like, it has to produce, it has to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just needs to be.
Yeah. So, I mean, just speaking from experience, I had a full-time job while I opened my first store. I worked at the store. I shared that store, so it worked out, but I was there like 3 days a week, and then I worked 4 days a week at my job. And yeah, I was hustling really hard, But then eventually I saw my business taking off in a way that I was like, oh my gosh, I can actually make more money here than over here. So then I quit that job, and then I was able to like really focus on Often Wander, and then it became my career.
How long were you doing both?
Maybe a year. Yeah, maybe a year before I finally quit my last job that I ever had working for someone else. And my mom was freaking out. She's like, what? And I'm like, it's going to be okay. And now she's like, do you remember when I said, what are you doing? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And I did
love
it.
That too, because that's also when you just need to trust yourself, and it's so easy to get caught up in everyone else's fears, and like it is objectively a scary thing to do that you like launched yourself into.
Yeah. But I just knew I was willing to work my ass off to get it to be what I wanted it to be, get it to be successful. I said yes to everything in the beginning, which is something we didn't talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about that now quickly.
Okay.
What we talked about before was that you went from saying yes to everything to really getting to a place of saying no.
Yeah.
And what did it feel like to at least allow yourself to say yes to everything at first, but then kind of transition into really having a firm set of, that's not for me?
Yeah. I think Often Wander happened because I was a yes girl in the early days. Like, I said yes to everything, and really cool opportunities came about because of that. And when you're in the growth phase, like sweat equity, is like a thing. So just putting in a lot of hours and hard work. And now I'm not interested in growing in that way. I'm honestly a little bit more interested in growing creatively, individually, while also still have the business support those things. So now it just feels so good to say no to the things that aren't in alignment with me and my peace anymore.
Are there any things that really felt like a yes before, or were really easier for you to say yes to, and are now like that is not in alignment?
Totally. Doing pop-ups. Like, I used to say I'd get invited to pop up at this store, go to my friend's thing, and I would schlep all of my candles and all of my jewelry and do a bunch of extra work, and I would, like, time after time, I was like, wow, no return on investment, over and over and over again. But I networked. I met people who then shopped with me. So there was still some trade-off. But now it feels so good to say no to those things because it's a lot of work. I say yes to the right shows and the right events. But yeah, just being a little bit more selective with my time and energy right now feels good. And I also believe that saying no to something is a strong signal to the universe to redirect, like correct direction and take you to another thing.
Yes, and create space for whatever is meant to fill that.
Exactly.
For people who are maybe just starting a business or are just kind of starting down this path, what do you feel like the balance is between saying yes to everything and also teaching yourself how to listen to what actually feels right? And like those early pop-ups where, yes, there was some value that you were getting out of it, but how do you balance that of what is valuable and what is like so draining for you?
Yeah. I used to go off of my gut on every decision that I made. So it would be like, to answer that question, like previous me would be like, did it feel good? Was I excited when I was there? Was I having a good time? Was I meeting people? Did it feel good? But now I'm like, did it feel good? And was it worth my time? So it's those two things that I'm looking at now.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Okay. I like that. I think there's so much business advice that is about like ignoring your intuition and like you just have to say yes and you have to do all of these things that you don't want to do in the beginning, and that's how you make it. But I love that you were still doing that in the beginning, but those things did feel good to you. Yeah. And then you got to a place where, yeah, even if they felt good to you, it wasn't where your energy needed to be, or there were other things that felt better.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Having a little bit of discernment over knowing myself a little bit better, knowing what types of things are going to be fruitful for the business and be fruitful for me. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so what could people expect from you and an Often Wander over the next few months?
Over the next few months, it's the end of the year, it's candle season. So we're hoping to have a big blowout sale at the end of the year and really sell as many of these candles that I've been pouring my heart into, literally. And I've got some jewelry to launch still that I'm excited about. I'm a team of one, so it takes me a little bit longer these days to get things like that done, but I'm still working on it and not stressing out about it. That feels good. Great. And I'm also going to be opening up this space to customers, I think, in the month of December, so people can come here and shop with me in person again.
Beautiful. And where can people find you if they can't come to this actual store, or when they can? But
yes, oftenwanderer.com, or on our website you can find, we have a stockist locator, so if you're watching this, listening to this cross country, you can find any of our wholesale accounts that we have throughout the United States that's closest to you. If you're in San Francisco, I've got my stuff at Ian James. I've got my stuff at Needles and Pens, Foggy Notion, Blackbird Bookstore, like so many cute
great
shops.
Places.
Yeah, great places. Simple SF, which is another refill location. And all of our products are refillable for half price, so you can mail those in to us too. So
yeah. Anywhere else that people can find you outside of Often Wanderer to follow your journey?
I haven't been posting much on social media, like at all. It feels nice to be taking a break from that too. So call me, Email me.
That. Write you a letter.
Yeah, yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
having
Thank
me.
you.
This was so lovely.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy candle season. I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and expanded. If you'd like to support the show, the best way is to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the fellow craft workers or craft curious in your life. You'll find everything we talked about, including links to today's guest, in the show notes. You can follow the show on socials at TradesShow to stay up to date. And if you're listening, you can watch the full video version on YouTube. I would highly recommend. It's a treat. And if you're watching, you can stream the audio wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any questions, feedback, or guest suggestions, please reach out anytime. You'll find my contact information in the show notes or at thetradesshow.co. Until next time, stay creative, curious, and continue to honor your craft.